Tracy calls and says, come down to the station on Wednesday morning at 6, if you could, I think, well, it is Ed Tracy. You got to show up. You just got to show up.
Thank you, pal. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Busy week.
Man.
Crazy.
Man, I don't know how you do it. Every time I get up in the morning, I look at the Facebook and the stats, and there's Jack Mitchell posting photos from 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, we've been running around. We've been trying to get the information out. It's certainly not just me. It's a lot of people, of course. It's a team. Jim Geedy at KVGC, Sue Slivick here at TSPN. Some of you might be familiar with her running around in the background.
I think I know her.
And Glenn Clayton and Eddie and Carol from Amador Community News. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting when this goes down. It's not about who has it first. We share our information, share our sources, and just try to get it out to as many people as possible. Yeah. So it's just phenomenal working with everybody, and it doesn't mean you go to sleep, though.
No, for sure. And it's not over. Like Susie was saying, it's not over. It's, Amador County's kind of gotten through this, hopefully, and Calaveras County is just reeling over this.
Well, and they're certainly worried about it. I mean, obviously, the flare-ups, it just takes an ember, the wind going a different way. The switch in this fire has been really unique in that it's gone against the grain with the amount of fuel that it burned. So they are definitely cautious. They said it went in a way that they'd never seen a fire go. They usually kind of have an idea of what it might do, and this one did not do that.
It's crazy. And, in Amador County, it's just hills everywhere, just up and down and up and down.
Well, the terrain was, on the front lines, watching them dig trenches, and I don't know how they do it. It's just unbelievable.
Not to mention all the people that should have evacuated and didn't and held their homesteads, and...
There were a few of those.
Yes, there were. I know a couple of those guys. I know with their hoses and their bulldozers.
Well, I can tell you if they ever come and see me and say, hey, it's time to go, from the photos I've seen and the coverage that I've done, if they say go, I'm grabbing my stuff and going.
I hear
Absolutely. I mean, it's a wall of fire, the amount of heat, the Mountain Ranch area looks like it was hit by a nuclear bomb. I mean, it is just insane in certain areas, and eerie and spooky and unlike anything you've ever seen.
So tell me if these numbers are correct. I printed this out last night. Resources that were involved in all this. Engines, 413. Water tenders, 54. Helicopters, 10. Air tankers, 5. Hand crews, 92. Dozers, 59. Total personnel, 4,312 people involved in fighting this fire.
Well, that would have been last night's.
Oh, man.
This morning, they just updated at 6:30, and I have those here somewhere. We've got 70,760 acres, 60% contained, 365 residences destroyed, 261 outbuildings, and somewhere in this long. And if you're reading this at home, realize that I posted this in the lobby at TSPN, so it might have some links that do not work in the update, and somewhere in here. 4,327 personnel, 414 engines, 92 crews, 10 helicopters, 59 dozers, 54 water tenders, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Man, oh man. Not to mention all the different agencies involved. I mean, it's just, we think about the firefighters. When I stayed in Plymouth when the power went out in Volcano. We were lucky. Power, no water, big deal, right? Driving out of Plymouth, seeing hundreds of fire trucks from all over Southern California. Beverly Hills was here. Beverly Hills represented.
It was
Stockton,
all over
everywhere.
the state. And it's not just fire personnel. When you get to the sheriff's office, the sheriff had multiple jurisdictions that were patrolling, making sure that houses weren't being looted. And the list goes on and on. I mean, they set up the encampment in Plymouth at the time, and it was just unbelievable to walk there and see what they set up. And same thing with PG&E. Up at the Italian picnic grounds, you're just like, wow, when they have an issue and need to get power up and going, these guys, they called in thousands.
And power's not really even technically officially up. If you go down 88 there in Pine Grove, you have these giant generators.
They built generator system and got things going. They were putting in poles. I've got some photos of that. I'm not sure if we've posted those yet, but I do have pictures of them putting up the power poles to get power back up. So hopefully won't have any more problems and they'll get going.
This
today's edition.
You see that one with the aircraft?
Look at that.
Yeah, we had quite a few photographers out there, and we stemmed through. And today's issue of the paper is the Ledger Dispatch is all Butte Mountain Fire edition. Really, for us, it's the history of the piece, and part of us is making sure we document what's going on. And
for sure.
There's a lot of nice pieces in there. Some of your hometown heroes that you've heard stories of or about, and the way people step up and come together. Unlike anywhere else, of course, I believe Amador County, when it's at its worst, we seem to come together better than any community I've seen, and certainly in this case, the list goes on, and you will see future coverage. This is really more of the timeline of the fire and kind of how we got started in. You will see some sections on hometown heroes, kind of how this all comes together.
Yeah. Make sure you get today's paper. It's an amazing edition. You can get it online, www.ledger-dispatch.com or myachome.com.
Yeah. And on Facebook. I'm on Facebook.
And he's on Facebook. Jack Mitchell, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
I
Good to see you
appreciate
as
it.
always.
Get some sleep, brother.
You bet.
We'll be back.